Okay, welcome to the January 2nd Imago Dei. We are on page 358. The section we're in is humanity and current issues, and we're looking specifically right now on genetic engineering, and we started a little bit last time, but we'll continue on. We're actually going to go through quite a bit of this to do with cloning and that kind of thing, and then when we get on to euthanasia and those kind of things, we're going to skip through because we covered a lot of that in the humanity and death section way back on section number 15, and so we'll kind of cruise through that and just hit the things that we didn't necessarily talk about when we covered that chapter probably 6 months ago or so. So let's begin with a word of prayer. Father, thank you so much for this group. I thank you for coming out on a snowy evening, and when it's a lot of things going on with New Year's just being yesterday, and Father, we just thank you so much for your word that reveals to us who we are and who you are, and how we can find out more about you by discovering more about ourselves. But Father, we understand that we are depraved and corrupt and sinful people, and so we don't always understand and see things the way we should. So we ask for your Spirit and for your word to guide us so that we can know the truth, and that truth would set us free. Father, be with our discussion. May it be from you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Page 358. We're going to skip, 356. We're going to skip down to the 2 quotes at the bottom of 356. Let me go ahead and read those. If it is possible to correct a gene so as to avoid a disease in future generations, we believe there is an obligation to tend to the welfare of the future in this way. And it is surely morally preferable to correct the problem before it is ever passed on, rather than to let a child be conceived, only to abort it when one finds that it has a genetic defect. And then there's a quote underneath that one. If one tries to correct a problem consequent upon the fallen sin, then his actions are proper in the sense that we fight the effects of sin, which God would want us to do. Of course, even in those cases, motives and or uses of this technology might be immoral, but that suggests another basis of moral evaluation. Suppose the intent of using our DNA is not to correct a problem that stems from sin, but merely to alter traits which aren't results of sin so as to suit one's taste. Would that be immoral? We believe so. Since a trait in no way results from sin or its consequences, we think a desire to alter the trait in essence rejects God's original creative work. Thoughts you hear on those 2 quotes? Yeah, Fred.
What does it mean when you say that you can use our DNA to correct a problem that stems from sin? What does that specifically refer to?
Like Down syndrome. What's the disease? Sickle cell anemia. It's a genetic defect that is usually perpetuated in future generations that wouldn't appear in normal human reproduction.
Okay, so basically, I see what you're saying then.
Yeah.
Does it use a connection to sin just basically as being a product of the fall?
Right, right. And the fact that we have birth defects, DNA problem. Great question, and I can't think of any examples right now, but there's 1,000 different medical situations that are carried on. And we now, through the mapping and everything else, can very closely identify what those are going to be. And what they're suggesting is, would it be possible, no, it is possible, would it be preferable to just not even go there if you knew this particular genetic defect was going to be perpetuated, rather than have it and then abort the baby afterward it's conceived? So.
Well, there's kind of 2 different things, though.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Because to have it, it could be that you go ahead and keep the baby.
Absolutely.
With the defect.
Right.
And then aborting would be a different situation.
Right.
It would be killing the baby.
Yeah.
And that's,
instead of allowing it to live the way it was created.
Mm-hmm.
But then we go ahead and fix babies after they're born and people after they're born with problems. And we're doing research all the time for cancer and all this stuff. So,
Yep.
yep, I think we should fix them if we can.
Well, that's pretty much what the author is suggesting as well. Yeah, Fred?
Do we understand, are all the implications of modifying, we have this one issue. And if we modify, how that affects everything else.
And I think the next quote will deal directly with that. In fact, let's go ahead and do that one next one. Someone read the top third of 357.
The objection?
Yeah.
The objection to RDNA is, it says that once you design a new genetic makeup for human beings, there's no logical place to stop. Even if redesigning originally intends to correct genetic defects, once it is done, there is no logical reason to avoid using this technology for eugenic purposes. Moreover, while all would agree diabetes, cancer, and sickle cell anemia are disorders, where is the logic that keeps us from claiming that color blindness, left-handedness, and even skin color are disorders to be corrected by redesigning our genes?
Is that addressed to your question that you were going to say a little bit ago?
Somewhat. I mean, and we've talked about it last week a little bit, is that when science will make some changes, especially to ecosystems, and they're like, oops, we didn't know that was
Yeah.
happening. And I can't even start to think what could possibly go wrong, but what could possibly go wrong. I mean, there's part of me that, while I agree that it would be great to get rid of the diseases, are there other
Implications.
I guess, or side effects,
Yeah.
whichever word you want to use, that we don't need? I mean, part of me is wondering, do we really, I'm really, I don't know.
Skeptical. Yeah, sure. And for good reason.
I just look at it with left-handedness. I mean, or the color of your skin, or any of those things that, the person put in, it would be in the perspective of the person that was making the decision. I mean, yeah.
Well, and I think what the author is trying to suggest here, and exactly what tends to take place, once you go down that slope, it's real easy to just go in directions that you may not have anticipated you're going to have to make choices for. Does that address your issue?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the ethics of medicine.
Well, and part of the problem is a lot of major educational institutions don't even regard ethics anymore, either in business or in medical situations, because they think it's no longer relevant. How are we, what their rationality is how are we to impose upon someone else in the general public ethics in which it's our opinion, where those ethic limitations are, and how can we impose our understanding of ethical behavior on someone else that may not agree with us? That's why discounting God and his plan and looking at transcendent values is absolutely devastating. There was a lecture at Harvard University, this has been 20 years ago now, in which a person from a business school came to lecture the business department at Harvard, and he got booed off the stage to imply that there are transcendent values that we all need to adhere to. And this is a Harvard business school 20 years ago. And the students almost unanimously, apparently, the way it sounded that he was driven off the platform and chased off campus, believe that you just don't impose your values upon somebody else. Which I think just opens the door for anarchy. Yeah, go ahead.
But in institutions like the one you just mentioned, how do they, it'd be interesting to know where they're at now, especially when you consider the pushing of critical race theory and things like that, where, I mean, they say basically there's no transcendent values, but
Columbia, I think, is a classic example of what the values is just a reflection of where the general public seems to be headed, rather than some transcendent value that we have recognized from Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, which is a huge difference. Because that set of ethics and that set of values will change daily.
do they consider, though, for those promoting these ones that are currently in the past few years, do they consider those subjective, or do they consider that?
That's a good question.
Because, I mean, what I'm hearing from, especially from professors and things that I see in the news never so often, it doesn't sound like this is my view, you can take it or leave it, though. This is what needs to be done because
Right.
this injustice has occurred, as in this is an objective, transcendent injustice that needs to be dealt with. And
That would reflect their thinking that it's transcendent value, when in reality,
that's why I wonder where some of these institutions, as you mentioned,
yeah,
where are they? I mean, they say, well, we don't have this transcendent value anymore, but have replaced it
right,
with a new set of transcendent values.
right. Yeah, they probably would, but I think in 20 years from now, they're going to reconsider those. Which really, it's kind of like inconceivable from Princess Bride. I don't think you really know what that word means. Sorry if you don't know the Princess Bride.
Well, we should share the movie, then we can read it.
Other thoughts? We're going to continue to look at this. We did the objection, yeah. Someone read as Strobel notes in the bottom 80% of 357.
As Strobel notes, those who view God as transcendent and totally other typically say that the matter of creation is in God's hands since his knowledge exceeds ours. On the other hand, Strobel argues for thinking of God in terms of closeness to his creation. Hence, knowledge of techniques such as our DNA does not usurp God's power or control, but helps man fulfill the biblical mandate to seek and know God and his creation. Moreover, it is crucial if man is to obey the biblical mandate to subdue, rule, and serve the creation. The real question is not whether we should have this knowledge and use it, but how we should use it.
And that last sentence is absolutely crucial. I come back to Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time and a place for everything under the sun. There's a time to use our DNA, and there's a time that we need to be really, really careful because it could lead down to instances that are absolute woo-hong. I really believe that's a product of our DNA research and escaped.
I know what DNA is. What are we talking about with the little R in front of it? I'm sorry, I don't.
Recumbent, I think it's called.
Sure.
Yeah, it's basically rearranging and
I'll look it up.
It's
Yeah.
man
yes,
manipulating.
man manipulating DNA.
I believe it's a copy of one of the helixes to put into the double helix to pretty much make a part of the DNA that can be replaced. I believe that's
Yeah, I
how it
think
works.
that's probably a more technical way of looking at it. I wasn't up to that speed, but that's a great way of expressing it.
Thank you, Lexi.
Go back to
Any other questions for Lacey? Okay, going down on 358. Someone read the top 20% there, or one of the greatest fears.
One of the greatest fears raised about our DNA for eugenic purposes concerning the fate of those who do not stack up, genetically speaking. Now that we can redesign humans genetically to avoid certain characteristics, will those with those characteristics be considered liabilities to society who must be eliminated? Will those with IQs below a certain level be expendable? Will they be refused permission to marry and or procreate? And above all, who will decide?
I remember reading about 5 years ago where, on this very issue, where there were some scientists that believe all Christians should be eliminated because it's a specific, in fact, they found a specific DNA trait that tends to lead towards religious behavior. And so they could eliminate all Christians and all people of faith by identifying that particular gene, and that would be expedient in order to bring more harmony to the world, because it's those Christians and religious people that cause all the problems in the world. Thoughts?
They were talking about making an immunization for.
Well, and that was part of the discussion as well. Yeah.
To eliminate Christians?
To eliminate the DNA that tends to.
Immunize all the Christians so they quit having those silly thoughts.
Yeah, Ted.
I have always believe that when we get to heaven, that we will find out which tribe of Israel we descended from.
Interesting.
That every Christian delineates.
Has a genetic connection?
Has a genetic connection.
Really?
To one of the tribes.
Interesting.
Of Israel. And that would,
That would confirm that.
Yeah, if there's a religious gene that would kind of point to that.
Well, and the same article talked about the gene that has proclivity towards alcoholism, a gene that has proclivity towards adultery, a gene that has proclivity towards murder. And there is research that shows that, but is it really the murder gene, or is it a tendency in human behavior that tends to make people more inclined to murder? Which is the big question. But the question here before the House on this one is, do we even want to engage in this kind of modification? Yeah, Fred, go
Well, I
ahead.
was going to say, when it talks about not allowing to reproduce, remember, in American history, we've done that.
Yes, we have.
I mean,
Was
what
it
we-
20s and 30s?
What America used to do the mentally ill
Right,
was disgusting.
right.
Wasn't that also with the Indian people?
Possible. I'm just saying, and I don't know all the, I do know from what I've read on could have, but they definitely did it to people
Yeah.
designated mentally ill, that they sterilized them.
Yeah.
Other thoughts?
Does this RDNA, is this real technology now?
Oh,
Can
yes.
They can change somebody's eye color, or,
It's my understanding that the COVID vaccine was RDNA generated.
I mean, like, before somebody's born, they can, or when
Yes.
they're in the womb, they can
Yes.
fix things.
Other thoughts? Folks, I don't know how much you keep track of this kind of stuff, but I read Breakpoint daily religiously. Good word to use. Because it just keeps me informed about the latest in the way Christians need to think about these issues. I just am very, very indebted to that, because the world is changing so fast. There's no way to keep up with all the things that are happening. Yeah, Ted.
In archaeology, in Oregon, they discovered a 15,000-year-old place where people killed animals, and they can take the arrowheads and look in the microscopic cracks and tell you what kind of animal was shot with that
Wow.
arrowhead.
Oh, sure.
And they identified it as being buffalo that went extinct before the little buffalo that we have now. They were giant buffalo.
Interesting. Well, they'd be the first to be hunted, that's for sure.
Well, we do stuff with the food we eat too. And I was thinking about the navel oranges in Brazil, you know, and then they talk about people with blue eyes are really missing something in there. What is it? It's anyway, I have it here, but I don't know where it went. It's genetic. I mean, there was one person in Europe that had blue eyes, and everybody now with blue eyes, they say, is related distantly. So are we going to say that if you don't have brown eyes, you're an inferior person?
I
Hitler
not
would say.
that. With my blue eyes.
Well, you're missing something. That's why your eyes aren't brown.
Yeah, Hitler would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to know what's too tall and what's too short.
Well, and that's what, and above all, who will decide on this quote? Who makes these values that we're gonna, if we're in fact, we're gonna advance this way of thinking, who's the one that's gonna decide who qualifies? If you have to have a certain IQ in order to justify your existence, what IQ is that? 50, 80, 120, 180?
Why does everyone have to be smart?
Apparently God didn't think.
Who's gonna do jobs that other people don't wanna do? I mean, the
Yeah.
capability of people, it makes you, if you were not, if you were like in an AP class and you didn't belong there because you didn't understand a thing, what good would being in that AP class do for you?
And you're probably going to be happier in a job that doesn't require that AP
That's
education.
right, that's what I'm getting at. You would be happier in a job that you understood and could do, instead of being in a job that you never understood.
Oh, you need to read some of the books that I'm currently reading.
Well, give them to me, fine.
Oh, no, I was being facetious. No, I don't want to, that would be cruel and unusual punishment.
Well, it depends on whether I have interest in it or not.
But on the whole woke movement.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Oh, unfortunately I do.
Maybe we should change their agenda.
They would suggest that that would be the right thing to do.
To us, not them.
Yes. Anybody white.
Is it? Yeah, but Hillary said that we need to be reprogrammed.
Okay, let's carry on. Someone read the middle of 358, that quote there.
Many know potential ecological implications of our DNA technology. They ask who is responsible for ecological disasters and epidemics that result when accidents occur. Insurance companies probably will not bear the brunt, but who will? Until we know, it would be wise to go very slowly with this technology. Beyond the practical issue, there is the moral question of whether man has the right to tamper with the natural order in this way. God gave man dominion over the created order, but that does not give him a right to exploit it for his own gains. Our basic stance toward the created order must be caretaking, not exploitation for selfish gains.
And folks, this was written before COVID-19, and the COVID-19 epidemic, I think all the evidence shows, is a direct result of this concern. Thoughts? And there are countries currently, in fact the United States is one of them, developing biological warfare that would use DNA-conceived bioweapons that nobody's sure what would happen, in fact, if those things were released. Would they consume the whole world and the actual person that used it come back and attack them?
Pandora's box.
That's exactly a great way to look at that. Thoughts? And I think this last statement is, if we understand who we are, created in God's image and God's likeness, we understand our role as being caretakers rather than using God's creation for exploitation, I think it reins those kind of motives in and restrains us from using it for those type of exploitative purposes.
Although we've exploited a lot
All
of
the
other
things.
things
And that's
already.
why this is being written, because it's already concerned. We don't have a good track record of restraining ourselves with self-control.
One problem you could see with this is different people have different gifts. Some people love to be outside and they're naturalists. Some people are great in sports. Some people are math brains, so, and you can keep going. So who decides who should be raised,
That's the ultimate question.
We're playing God.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and God would say nobody should be deciding any of this because you shouldn't be involved in it.
But if you only had people who were so intelligent that they could do anything they wanted to mathematically, or remember everything they ever studied, or would they be interested in sports? Would they be interested in animal life outside? Would they be interested in their ecosystem?
Well, maybe.
Probably not, though, because when you center all your learning on one specific thing, you don't know about every other thing. That's when I look at some people who, I know they're bright, I know they're intelligent, but when they want to be in a conversation with you about something they don't know about, they don't know about it.
You don't even need to be vastly intelligent to be feeling that way, though. I mean,
Monofocus.
yeah. There's a lot of people that I wouldn't have a thing to say in the conversation, because whatever they're talking about, it could be mechanical, it could be, well, it could be high-level music. I would just,
Out of our scope of practice.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So then only the really high-level people should be around. That's sarcasm.
Oh, yeah,
Good.
okay. I was thinking as we were talking about this though, you know, this would be robbing people like us of helping others who are less fortunate.
Oh, Sharon,
I mean, they would take it all
keep
away
that thought.
if they weren't around and needing
Keep
us to
that
be
thought.
gracious.
And folks, only a Christian will have that viewpoint. The world looks at that as a burden. Looks at that as a necessary occupying of my time for things that I don't care about.
Is that why we order groceries and just go pick them up now?
Well, I'm not sure that's the case.
I don't know.
Is it, Jean?
Just think about it. Just think about it. You're wasting your time walking through the grocery store.
It's so I don't forget to get what's on my list.
Jody,
Is this a primarily Western,
a concern?
even considering these things? Because I feel the Western civilization is more focused on like, what's that word? Doing things yourself, being independent and being
Oh.
self-sufficient. That's the word I was trying to think of. And because the advantage of having the different people is that it requires you to, you know, you need each other
Oh, sure.
to be better as a community. And so if you're not considering that in the equation, which it sounds like this is not, then that's
Yeah,
going to
and
affect things.
tying that with Sharon's comment, I think definitely exposes how that would play into the decision making. Yeah, and I thought we were going from, is this an Eastern concern like China? I'm not sure China has any of these questions on their radar, and that's really concerning.
I know
Well,
that-
they locked all their COVID people in the buildings and
Yeah.
let them out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they have such a different view of human life that a lot of these questions won't even come up on their radar.
I know there was discussions when I was in high school, and this is going more into the next section, but I do believe there was like a certain project in China of literally cloning another human being, like in the works. And it sounds like there was a lot of outside forces that were forced to come in and shut it down because it was clear that if it was an outside force, it was going to continue. So
Yeah,
China's been working on this for nearly 10 years now, and who knows how far they've gotten, and it's clear that they don't. At least the doctors working on it are not thinking about the implications. of
Yeah, and how much of that is still going on covertly that nobody knows about.
Well, weaponization, that's going on worldwide.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so,
And we're just as guilty.
yeah, yeah. So what I'm saying is that I don't know that it's just Western.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I meant more like the RDNA, like the choosing who was going to be born and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I guess Western's not even the right word for it, because like you think of people like in the Central America, they seem to be more community driven or
Oh, sure.
and stuff like that. And I guess
Sure.
I'm thinking it seems like they wouldn't, which they probably don't have the technology that they're at that level medically, but
Yeah. Almost for sure.
at the same time, it just seems like they wouldn't. They'd be like, "Why are you asking that?" Because
Right.
yeah, which I think there's certain points of that we could learn from.
Absolutely. And I think tied to Sharon's concern that we just don't care for other people.
Don't we also take into consideration the environment? in which
Hopefully.
a person grows up, adds to their intelligence also?
Hopefully.
So how do you measure what a person could be if they grew up in a different environment?
Yeah.
We're going to come to that.
Okay.
We're going to cloning because it's going to come up in the cloning section as well.
Alrighty then.
Top of 359. If ethical considerations for genetic engineering seem complicated and confusing, then L. Joseph is right. You ain't seen nothing yet. Someone read that long quote on the top of 359.
For those unable to have children by natural or other artificial means, cloning can give them a child genetically identical to one of them. Second, individuals of great genius, beauty, or talent could be replicated. Think of the benefits of continually replicating an Einstein or a Beethoven. Likewise, a country might produce a superior military by cloning its best soldiers. Third, cloning along preservation of a given genotype that might be seen as a way to attain biological immortality. The chance of a recurring genotype, except with multiple births, is slim, but cloning guarantees it. Fourth, cloning lets a couple pick the sex and physical characteristics of their child. One would not have to clone oneself. One can produce an embryo with a transplanted nucleus from someone with desirable qualities. Fifth, cloning might be used to overcome genetic defects and diseases. Genetic defects could be avoided by cloning only healthy persons. Finally, clones could provide a major source for organ donors and transplants. If the recipient were cloned for this purpose, given the genetic identity of the donor, fear of organ rejection would be greatly reduced.
And folks, we are there with that. That is no longer speculative. This was written about 10 years ago or so, and it's no longer speculative. In fact, about 4 weeks ago, Breakpoint had where people are developing bodyoids, which is a genetic produced body with no central nervous system, so it doesn't have a conscience, doesn't have any way of thinking, solely for the purpose of harvesting those organs and transplanting them into people that need those particular organs. Thoughts?
Everything that screams from this paragraph is that clones are not people, they are products. And I have a huge issue with that.
Good for you! That's the whole reason this section is in this whole study. Because it's a violation of people created in God's likeness and God's image and looking at them as a consumable product.
You know what crazy thought went through my mind? It's like choosing what I want to have on pizza.
It is.
I mean, that's just so far out there, but I want olives and I want mushrooms. I want blue eyes, I want blonde hair.
And is the pizza you chose last week going to be the same as you choose next year?
Maybe for me.
Okay, bad question.
Why is it the same thing?
Well, and that's part of the problem with having people as a consumable issue. It's easy to discard them once our opinions and our preferences change.
Yeah, but I mean, what would be the joy of having a child? You already know what it's going to be like.
Wow.
It takes
That's
away
not-
all the human.
Although, we're going to come to another issue that I think is really important. Fred, go ahead.
But I wonder, because part of this is assuming if you've got this mentality, is completely a naturalist position where everything that's about a person is going to be biological. I mean, it's going to be in terms of
You've hit the heart of the issue.
I mean, which we went through earlier, the whole metaphysical versus physical.
Yep.
Is that even if you get all the DNA points of all the characteristics you think you want, the metaphysical, I guess the personality, the spiritual aspect, I mean, you might create a monster.
Please go to page 360, about 40% of the way down.
I just wanted to say
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing, that Newbery books were mentalist books that are like for junior high kids. The Giver was one, I'm sure you guys all remember that, how they would just get rid of people that weren't right, or no one saw color except for the Giver. They took away from the people the ability to interact and live. But there was also a book on cloning, and this was at the middle school level, where they cloned people for body parts.
Oh, wow.
And so then when somebody needed a body part, that person was a person that was cloned. It was like disastrous. It was like, it just affected me so emotionally. I could
sure.
hardly stand to read the book.
Oh, good.
But that was 30 years ago.
Well, we're there.
Junior high books.
We're there. The technology is there.
When I think we talked about this last time, identical twins are basically clones, aren't they? And I don't know,
yes.
I don't know any identical twins who have the same personality.
We're going to 360. We're going to tag along onto that. Page 360. Someone read about 40% of the way down. Some may think.
Some may think cloning is a way to replicate someone with special abilities and personality. Think, for example, of a basketball team with clones of Michael Jordan. However, this kind of thinking rests on the faulty assumption that genetics and biology are all there is to personal development. Environment seems insignificant, but surely this oversimplifies things. A clone of Michael Jordan might be raised in an environment where his interests are purely intellectual, not physical at all. A clone of Beethoven could be bored with music. Just because a clone is genetically identical to the original doesn't mean all else about it will be identical too.
And folks, that's because the scientific community only looks at the physical. It
Yeah.
doesn't understand, it doesn't figure in figure in is probably a better word, the metaphysical at all. The spiritual aspect, the personality, the emotional aspects. And folks, identical twins are not identical. They have personalities that are completely unique and different.
Isn't that because God gave us a choice?
And it comes right back to that thing that God created us in His likeness and His image. And it takes 6 billion people in order to fully express that image and that likeness. Even the most hardened criminal is made in God's image and God's likeness. And folks, I have seen God's image and God's likeness come out of murderers. Now, not the murdering part, but their creativity and what they can do artistically. I don't know if you've ever been to prison and watched what they can do with the inside aluminum foil of a chip wrapper, but it is astounding. I'll never forget a nativity scene that an inmate had created, a lifelong inmate had he's committed for life in prison for murder. A nativity scene that looked like a professional had built it out of molds and everything else. It was done out of the aluminum foil of a chip wrapper. That I don't know if you've known or not, but you can actually strip it away and take that aluminum foil out, and he had created an entire nativity scene out of that foil. And I was astounded with how accurate and how beautiful it was. But he had a whole lifetime to do it. And it was amazing to me to see that kind of creativity out of that individual. But if he's made in God's likeness and God's image, he's got something in there that we need to find out about him. And it was evident what his gift that made him in the God's likeness and God's image. Thoughts?
Did you talk to him or did you just see them?
I just saw it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Do you remember when that was? It was when I went to visit Jared.
It wasn't Jared, it was
I wanted it so bad. I was willing to pay any price almost to get it, but it wasn't for sale.
when you were in Addison.
Was it in Addison? Okay.
Somebody's son was in jail.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Go ahead.
I was just thinking when you were talking about vaccinating Christians to get what
Oh, right.
the way. Why is it that you couldn't vaccinate the other people to be Christian? I mean, if you only look at one side of things, it makes no sense to me.
Because God wants us to have personal choice for one
If
thing.
they're developing something like that, though, why didn't someone think of the other side? I mean, that
Oh, boy.
is narrow-mindedness.
Free will.
I don't think the vaccination would work on
That would be
Christians.
narrow-mindedness to only think of one
That's true.
Feel like great Kool-Aid drinking.
Oh, wow.
And somebody might be considering it, but I don't think that's the direction we should go.
Oh, I was gonna say too, that probably everyone's seen on TV that Tom Brady had cloned his dog.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Oh, really?
No, really?
Cloned
For what
his dog.
purpose?
Because his dog died and he wanted
Oh,
a dog just like his other dog. He had him on TV.
The dog?
Did you see it? Yeah. The dog was under.
$10,000 dog.
Yeah, it took him, cost him
Actually, that's pretty
$10,000.
cheap. My nephew sells $10,000 dogs, and they're just
yeah.
bread.
Clone to stuff.
Wow. Now, okay, is that a adequate use of cloning? Is that a righteous use of cloning?
Didn't they clone sheep a long time ago?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, that
Dolly.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, Dolly, there you go.
A long time ago. I guess it,
Fred, go,
I just-
comment.
My comment is, I wonder if he's actually satisfied because, I mean, seriously, I mean, because I mean, dogs have personality.
Yes.
Sure. Did he say anything about that? If
no, he didn't. He just said he wanted a dog, just like the way he died.
He didn't say if he got one, though.
No, he did not say that this dog is exactly like the dog.
Well, he's not gonna say it wasn't with $10,000 invested in it.
Well, he could do it.
Yeah,
That would be like brushing your teeth, getting new toothpaste.
right.
Yeah.
You're right. Other thoughts while we're here? I have a couple more, well, actually, just one more quote that I want you to read. This is really interesting. The bottom of 360, that long quote.
It is now possible in principle with our DNA to cross human with animal genes to produce human-animal hybrids that will be able to reproduce themselves. Some claim experimentation to do so is already underway sub rosa in some countries. To some this is desirable. For example, Joseph Fletcher favors it in both medical and non-medical grounds. From a medical standpoint, Fletcher notes that herds of human-animal hybrids might be raised to provide organs for transplantation. From a social standpoint, such hybrids might be created to do dangerous or demeaning jobs. On the other hand, others see the idea as ethically questionable, since the human component would be condemned to a situation unworthy of it. Moreover, some see Leviticus 19:19's prohibition of crossbreeding species as the basis for rejecting our DNA technology to produce human-animal hybrids.
Thoughts?
The
Interesting.
Bible has something to say about that. Before the cloning issue.
Yeah, it does.
So, I don't think God wants that.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know what God thinks, but I don't see him crossbreeding anything naturally.
Well, yeah, I just got done reading, well, beginning of the year, reading Genesis 1 and 2, well, actually 3 and 4, about, well, no, 1 and 2, about each breeding with its kind.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, Ted.
Wasn't the angel-human crossbreed the reason, one of the reasons for
Oh, Ted, that is genius.
wasn't that one of the reasons
Dad!
for the flood?
Good, thank you for saying that. Yeah, Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. The sons of man have intercourse with the
Daughters and.
daughters of man with the sons of God. Yes, very good, Ted. Where were you when I put this chapter together?
Isn't that what produced the giants?
Yes, the Nephilim. And God definitely spoke against that. Yes. Man, Ted, that's genius. Does everybody understand what Ted's
He's been
saying?
reading his Bible.
It is the first of the year, and so Genesis 1 through 6.
We're right in the time.
No, that's exactly the case. Exactly the case. Does everybody understand what Ted's point is? Because it's really huge. I feel stupid having missed it, because I wrote an 80-page paper on that subject.
I was thinking that when you were saying that, like, how could you forget?
I did, Fred.
Question, because first of all, the whole idea, again, Lacey talked about it, is that the living thing is being produced as a product.
Yes,
And it's being tailored as a product. Now,
right.
question, and I guess go back, what do you think from scripture? Is it okay, I mean, we've done it with animals. Is that morally okay to breed animals for?
Tom Brady has done it with animals.
But I mean, not only, I would imagine well, we know what happened with horses, for racehorses. And other things where basically you're breeding things together to produce a genetic, you know,
Right.
it's all being done naturally.
Sure.
But I mean, I would imagine in agriculture over the years.
Oh, definitely
things that
taken place.
Has taken place. I mean, is that all okay? I mean, that's what I'm just kind of.
Well, and I think it goes back to your original comment about 20 minutes ago. Do we fully understand the implications of what this is going to perpetuate?
Right.
Somebody else, go ahead.
In Leviticus 19:19, it also said, do not plant your field with two kinds of seeds.
Yeah, yeah. Other thoughts?
Two kinds of animals. Don't wear clothing woven in two kinds of materials. And we do that all the time. We
But
mix it
maybe
all
we should
together.
be.
Ted?
Who was it in the Old Testament that made the sticks and put them in front of the animals and they came
Oh,
out spotted?
Jacob.
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 Yeah, in order to get genetic breeding.
In order to get rich.
Well, that's- and stick it to his father-in-law.
Yeah. So there, Laban.
That's exactly what it was. Other thoughts while we're on this interesting subject?
We do have in place like laws to protect animals though too. So this seems, if you're doing for what that last part said, to do like dangerous stuff, it seems like that would even go against what we have for animal protection nowadays. So yeah, let alone the fact that if they're part human, that seems terrible.
Yeah, but please understand, those are American laws, and in
Right.
China, they don't apply at all.
True.
Has this hasn't successfully happened?
To my knowledge, no. But the research scientists believe that it is possible.
Because I thought.
But I'm with Fred. I'm skeptical about what will actually be produced.
I was under the understanding they've not even succeeded in crossbreeding like a sheep with a horse or something.
Oh, that's
I mean,
probably-
you know, it's
yeah.
just
What
the
would that be?
kind with their kind that they've been able
Yeah.
to.
You could get a lot more wool off from them.
Ted?
I'm gonna order a pair of wings.
I've always wanted to fly.
So you want to be crossbred with a condor?
There you go.
Other thoughts before we go to reproductive alternatives? Okay, we're on 361. Let's skip that first one and go to the second one on 362. Someone read the top quote with 362.
Surrogate motherhood, when the gestational mother is,
Remunerated.
thank you.
Paid.
Remunerated.
Amounts to selling one's body for procreative purposes. It is not identical to what is normally thought of as prostitution, but in a sense, it is not far from it. The purpose is procreative, not sexual and lustful, but it still treats a woman as an object to be used to gratify the desires of others. Prostitution creates a social problem, and surrogacy for hire creates a similar one. In addition to what surrogacy does to the surrogate, there is also the matter of selling babies.
Thoughts? Everybody understands what surrogate childhood is, okay? Good.
I thought women were always slaves anyway, so what makes the difference?
Oh, we don't want to go there.
We couldn't even vote. We
That's true.
couldn't own property.
That's true.
Made us, yeah,
But those wrongs have been righted.
have they?
Not in my house. According to my wife.
I just say that, I don't think there'll ever be a time, and maybe I'm totally wrong, until everyone forgets about what it was like to be male dominated, that women and men will be more on an equal level. If you stop and think.
It depends on how you define equal.
As in having the right to pursue what you want to do, the right to be looked upon as an intelligent person, because that still exists today. And until we get generations and generations away from that idea, I don't think it'll ever feel
That
like.
could be.
We're far enough away from it that it's the pendulum swung, in my opinion, way too far the other way now.
Well,
Because-
I don't think it has. What I think has happened is the white males have been attacked. But I don't think in our little community, and I'm not talking about women's lib and all that stuff. I'm talking about just the way women are looked upon. We don't have to agree, but that's
I've
okay.
never felt that, but I did.
Yeah, but I'm 72 years old.
Lacey.
Not on this, but in general, just, this is something I've wrestled with a lot, just because, especially as a youth leader, I see a lot of like teenage girls who want to become mothers one day, and I just, there's always the possibility that a young woman who gets married, goes into an appointment and learns that it is impossible for them by natural means to have a child. Like something wrong with the reproductive system, and like, they feel the calling to be a mother and to pursue that way. And now we do have technology to address
Sure.
that. Like, and I'm trying to figure out, is this a gray area or is this like a black and white? Like, can we tell like someone who wants to be a mother and for pure reasons to
Sure.
raise a household, like if they have the means to get a surrogate, if they have means for IVF, like, and it's clear they want to do it for like a godly reason, would that be permissible to allow them to do?
Yeah, you struck the heart of the issue, which hopefully later on will make more clarity of it. Yeah.
Just for clarification, in this process, is the surrogate use even her egg, or is it not even her
Well,
egg?
that's the ultimate question.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
that's
it
what
can change.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I really don't know. I mean, I didn't know if it was a sperm and an egg of two other
Yeah,
people.
there's all sorts of surrogacies.
There's all sorts of, okay, so,
Yeah.
An embryo can be implanted that is not theirs.
right, so that can happen. Or-
Ideally, it would be the husband's sperm and the wife's egg planted in someone else, because of the reasons that Lacey's caught up. But that doesn't always happen.
Okay. So, okay.
And then there's other issues that come up
There's so
too.
many adoptions, there's so many kids that need adoption.
Oh, well, that's another question as well. Yeah.
The trouble is, in America, even like the Plemons, they had to pay lots and lots of money to adopt a girl who was given to them. The legal system is just,
Prohibitive.
Needs to
Yeah.
be fixed.
Yes.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, see, my family didn't have to pay a lot to adopt because they were already foster parents.
Yeah. If you work through the foster program, it
Yeah.
tends to be, well, and I think state of Ohio might be a little more generous with that.
Because
than the
that's
state of
where
Michigan.
they've adopted, well, hopefully soon 4, but 3. Siblings that my grandson.
Thanks for coming, Lacey.
Have fun.
Middle of 362, let's read these two.
The problem with a surrogacy arrangement for a single father to raise a child is that it is deliberate. You think being raised by only one parent is in the child's best interest. If that need arises through the death of one parent, one has no control over that. But with surrogacy, one does have control, and one chooses deliberately to do what is not in the child's
What's
best
being
interest.
promoted here is that a man decides to have a child through whatever means and allow that child to be brought into his household knowing that he's going to be a single parent. Is that a good thing to do, knowing that statistically a child brought up in a one-parent household doesn't have as good a chance of success as a two-parent household?
Now, if we go with Phyllis's earlier scenario or thought, it would be the same thing as if a woman
Oh, sure.
has a child
Yeah, I think the argument's the
and
same.
it's the single parent. And
Yeah, it's the same argument.
that's much more common.
Well, definitely.
And our society in a whole, with divorce and everything, has shown what a disaster that's been.
Yeah.
I'm from that.
Fred.
But you know, I know more about me than you, but you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
God made it the way He wanted it.
I just find this
You mess it up.
this quote interesting, and I agree with it. But how long was it Dan Quayle with the TV show Murphy Brown,
Oh, yeah.
when they had her as a single mom and he called it out and people just went all. I mean, of course, everybody jumped over Dan Quayle for every little
Right.
thing. But basically, he called this out, they were like, oh no, you know, a single parent's fine. You know, it's just quite,
Yeah, and that was what, 85 or something like that?
Quayle, I think, wasn't it Dan Quayle, so it'd been, what, he was 88 to 92,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
so. But I don't remember what year in that time frame.
But he's been proven right on every instance in which he was attacked,
Oh, that's-
including potato.
Does it have an E or no?
Depends on where you look.
Who cares? And so why does the potato have an E?
Other thoughts besides potato thoughts.
Potato tomato.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
Well, what are you asking on this one then? Should it
I'm just,
be allowed? or-
I'm just putting it out there for us to consider what all this involves. Because I think as Christians, we look at these issues and don't fully consider all the implications of what takes place in these kind of events.
I personally have a problem with surrogacy. I don't know that I have a problem with IVF
Okay,
between a husband and a wife
Right.
who need help having their own child.
right.
But then when you start involving another person in that, that's where I see it can get to be muddy.
And how many
Whether the
surrogates?
surrogate who carries this baby is doing it for money, or even not, after feeling that person inside, she may not want to give up that baby. I mean, that's one of the things. Or, you know, a silly thing on Facebook I read, I was telling Doug about it. You know, this couple has somebody carry a child for them, and then when the child is born, well, we don't want that child.
Oh
It
my.
doesn't look, now that may be a story, but I'm saying
I can see it
that
happening.
that could turn into reality.
Because
Yeah, I
more
can see that.
consumerism.
Yeah, especially if you wanted that blue-eyed, blonde-haired baby boy, and you didn't get it, any of it. So, that whole surrogacy thing, that's complicated. That gets real complicated.
Well, let's make it even worse. Let's
Okay.
take a look at the bottom of
I'll probably
362.
hate it even more.
Someone read the bottom of 362 if you would.
Suppose a healthy couple learns that the wife is pregnant. Suppose also that early in the pregnancy, when the developing baby could be transferred unharmed to a surrogate, the wife is in an automobile accident. The baby does not die, but after holding on, the mother does. A friend or relative of the couple knows that the mother's death will mean death to the baby, so out of compassion, she offers to become the baby's surrogate mother. She agrees to this without fee and without understanding that once born, the baby will go to the genetic father.
Thoughts?
Well, it won't be right because it's a father. It has to be father and a mother, so she keep the baby.
How did she not understand that?
How did who not understand what?
So the question is, should she let the baby die or should she?
Right.
Should she
provide
carry it?
a-
An option for the baby to live.
Yeah.
Correct.
She carried it.
Correct.
To give it to the father.
Ultimately.
And then that baby still has one parent.
Yes.
Oh, but we can not just have one parent. That's not good.
But I bet there'd be an aunt around an awful lot to help take care of the baby.
And that doesn't preclude the father from getting remarried.
Right.
And then it would have.
And
There you
then
go.
that might be kind of a problem.
That's why this question's before the House. For us to realize with the technology comes all sorts of ethical questions that we may not have considered. And that's true of any technology, including your cell phones. I can't tell you the number of articles I've read about the sociological implications of our cell phones. Probably more than 20.
You know, it's really funny, we've never said that about books to give to kids.
Well, actually, Socrates and Aristotle had a lot to say about
Well, I was gonna
books.
say, I disagree with that.
That is true, but
That's great, a whole lot of issues too.
on a regular basis with a little baby that knows how to swipe, you can give that little baby a book and we don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that.
Sure,
That's true.
sure. although Aristotle did.
He had a lot of problems with a lot of things. What was his environment like?
Go ahead.
Okay, I said I have a problem with this
Sure.
myself. Okay, but what can we do about it? I mean, if I have a problem with it and Lacey needs to counsel her teenage girls about what is, I can't make it wrong legally. I can't do
Sure.
anything. So I'm not sure, are you trying to get us to take a hard line on this?
No, definitely
Or
not.
just to deal
I
with
think
it in our own
Ecclesiastes
head?
3 still is in play.
Yeah.
And I think that's the wisdom of the scriptures, because I think every event is unique and has its own considerations. And I think for us to know who we are created in God's likeness and God's image, and who God expects us to be, and the implications of our decision making, understanding the implications of our decision making along the way, which way is going to better promote what God wants us to be as people created in His likeness and image. And I think this one is a good representation of what it means to be created in God's likeness, using the technology we have in order to save that baby's life, bring it into the world, and then hopefully the father will provide a full family situation for that child. But to just let the baby die without doing anything when you have the technology to do it seems wrong, right? And now that creates a whole nother instance, which is in this one. I've lost it now. Oh, it's a couple pages down the way. Yeah, Ted.
In the Old Testament, when a woman's husband died and
Wow.
his family was supposed to marry her, were they giving her a surrogate husband?
You know what?
Really,
You
they
could
were-
make a case for that.
Yeah, so that she could have a child
Right.
to take care of her.
Wow, that sheds a whole... Ted, where were you when I wrote this chapter?
Dad, you're getting just so many brownie points. I can't believe it.
Maybe God's word talks to us a little bit more about this.
Knowing the principle behind that sheds a whole lot of light on surrogacy.
It does.
I mean, it
It's
does.
just kind of the other way around.
Of the other way around.
Instead of father to baby, it's wife, husband, wife to husband.
I understand what you mean. I'm not sure I understood what you said last. But
But then in that day, the men had lots of wives, too,
Yeah.
right?
True. The concubines.
Yeah, they weren't
weren't
supposed
supposed to. Even God took a dim look on Solomon.
See, there
And
you
even
go.
a dimmer, not dimmer, but even a dim look on David as well, who had 8 wives. So,
Oh, we were talking about this, kind of a surrogacy thing with Abraham and Sarah. See, when that they went way back into trouble with that.
We're still facing consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy.
See, not supposed to. But, okay.
Maybe
here's
that's
a-
why they had to do it with the brother.
Yeah. Well,
So
here's
it'd be
another
family
spin
members.
on that baby and the mom in the car accident. Say, for instance, the baby was farther along, and maybe a 7-month baby or 6 months, somewhere where it's
They can survive.
viable.
Yeah.
yeah, but maybe not well. Is that something to take on then?
well,
The
definitely
medical
something to
costs.
consider.
The medical costs
Yeah.
and all of that, but see, then that's another,
I was in 2.5-month preemie, so it's easy for me to say that.
Well-
It'll be okay.
and they probably would, but maybe there might be a
You're right,
time when you
medical
have
costs,
to, you can't use another mother.
Right,
Put
right.
Oh, sure.
Plant and.
Sure.
Yeah,
and then
too
what
far.
happens? So,
Right.
I'm past that. I can't. I don't. I'm glad. But I don't have to deal with that.
Other thoughts?
We all know what God's perfect world would be with children. But then I think He allows Christian couples especially to have help when they want to have a child. Running the risk that child may cause them a lot of heartache sometime in life, though.
Oh, sure.
Because that child's gonna have free choice and all of that. So when you talk about this cloning and that's gonna be different, and you aren't gonna know how that person would come if they're interested in what you thought they'd be interested in. It's all a mess. So you better just leave it the way it is.
You just don't own your children. I mean, you can't tell them what to do when they're going to do it. Used to be able to in old Bible times, you know, if you didn't do what your parents said, they could stone you, you know? So you had to obey, you had to do what you were supposed to, kind of. But today, you don't own your kids, no.
You plant the seed.
And what about the sex changes they were doing? That's another whole thing we've got.
Oh, we beat that horse to death several times in this class.
That is just not something I should happen.
And the kind of overriding principle I want you to see through a lot of these issues is that God has ordained a certain creative order, certain way of doing things, including the way sex takes place. And that's why deviance from that is such an abomination. I read it, in fact, in a book that I'm reading right now, looking at biblical justice, where the guy makes a really, really good case that the reason why homosexuality and transgenderism and all those kind of deviant sexual behaviors are so repulsive to God is because it's spitting in God's face for His preordained order for how things which should take place, including the sexual act, including procreation. And so when we start spitting in the face of all that, it's blasphemy of God. And that's why Romans 1 takes such a hard line against sexual deviation and says, I never read this before until today. Romans 1 says, Paul says, those people that do such things deserve to die. I had never read that in there, but it's as clear as day in Romans 1. And I went, whoa, how could I go all my life? I memorized Romans 1 when I was in quiz team 50 years ago. But there it is. And so it just impressed upon me even more how lightly we take God's created order and kind of just run roughshod over it when God doesn't look at it that lightly at all. He looks at that as something, I created the world with this order, and you're running roughshod over it. That is not, He's not pleased with that. Thoughts? To conclude, transgenderism is an even worse violation of the created order. Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
Did you get the sense that that verse was different than the fact that we all deserve to die for our sins?
It's not different in the ultimate result of it. I just didn't realize that Paul specifically said that this particular sin, they deserve to die. It's one thing to look at all sin as leads to death, but it's another thing to call out a specific sin and said, no, these people deserve to die.
So, can we call Mary a surrogate mother then?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
If that is.
You know what? That's a great point too. Where am I at?
Might have to see your rewrite on this chapter.
Yeah.
That might be interesting. Yeah?
Well, there is going to be a
Precedent for that one. Yeah.
2.1 version. That's why all these notes are going in here.
Maybe we should change our minds.
Well, hopefully didn't give the impression that all surrogacy is wrong, because I don't think it is.
No.
But I do think it's something we need to understand the implications of what that decision means.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid too many Christians make decisions without really looking at the implications. And that's unfortunate.
Well, it would be wonderful when we had a child, if that child, you could actually make it the way you want to. When you have 3 kids and they're all in the same person, you know, I say this all the time, why do they act so different?
Yeah.
That's what makes them the best.
I
And I never would have chosen them that way, but I'm so thankful they are.
Sometimes I'm not.
So if you could pick your perfect child and just have it come like that,
It would not be anything like my kids.
would the next two be exactly the same?
What was?
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Would you make all three of them
I
exactly
would
alike?
not, but other people might.
Yeah, but you're saying that post raising your children.
True. At the beginning, I might have thought it'd been easier to have. In fact, I'm pretty sure I would have thought that.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah, I think that's part of understanding that babies are created in God's likeness and God's image, and all of us reflect an aspect of that image in different ways, and with different skill sets, different personalities, different way of looking at the world. Ted, you're one of the people that I can count on, about 6 or 7 people in my life that I can count on of looking at life differently. You do not live in a box that nobody else lives in.
It's in a good way.
It's a high compliment. No. I might snack it out of you, and I don't want that. Buddy Briggs is the same way. Nobody looks at the world the way Buddy Briggs does. And sometimes it gets him in serious trouble. But he and I really cherish when he says something, and when you say something, I seriously consider, not that I totally ignore everybody else.
Yeah, I know.
But you do, and I think that's part of God's image and God's likeness coming out through you because of your need. And everybody has those things. It's just a matter of discovering what it is. Yours is just more obvious, Ted.
That just has too much time to think.
Well, and maybe that's it. And God bless you.
When Ted speaks, everyone listens.
You're the E.F. Hutton of my life.
There you go.
You can put that on your tombstone.
Never mind, we will.
Other constructive thoughts. Top of 366. We're in the section of euthanasia. We've covered a lot of this way back on section 15 on humanity and death. But 366. Top. If somebody read that that quote, I think it's important for us to understand this connection.
How did the concept of euthanasia get such a head start in the 70s? We must keep referring back to abortion because it is the Supreme Court decision on abortion that started that. Only viable human beings who have the capability of meaningful life may, but need not, be protected by the state. That statement could be a death warrant for many in a few years.
And no one less than Francis Schaeffer and C. Everett Koop. I don't know if you remember him, Surgeon General under Reagan, I believe. That they wrote a book together to put that in there. I was not aware that phrase that's in quotations was in that argument when Roe v. Wade was proposed in 1973.
I've read that before.
Thoughts? Because all of a sudden life has a value depending upon what somebody else puts upon that life, instead of just a transcendent value because it's that person created in God's God's image. Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, define the term. With that phrase, define the term meaningful.
Yes.
And that's what's so disturbing.
Oh my goodness, that's Pandora's box right there.
It wasn't the
We've
whole,
already opened it.
what tipped it in the abortionist way was the whole argument that a woman that was raped by him,
Oh sure.
raped, that baby didn't have a right to live.
Yeah, that was the selling point way back in the. I remember my folks arguing this when it was coming up in the 70s, when I still lived at home. That was the only way that this was going to be allowed, was a rape situation or some other disastrous situation. Boy, we have far run roughshod over that. And that's part of the problem when you legislate a particular thing that goes against moral convictions or moral standards. Once you start down that slippery slope, it's hard to know when to stop. The whole MAID question out of Canada, assisted suicide. That has become a really slippery slope. It's gotten out of control, to be quite honest with you. It's one of the leading causes of death in Canada now.
And how many states have approved it now? Didn't another
It's like
state
10 or
just?
12 or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
In the United States?
in the United
States.
States have approved that.
Yeah. Just recently, someone else.
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
Was it New York?
Oh, I heard.
Colorado.
Oh, it had another one.
They both have.
Yeah, Ted.
I think you could probably find thousands of people who don't have the capability for a meaningful life that wouldn't choose abortion if they had the chance to go back and
Sure.
make that choice
Sure.
themselves.
Absolutely.
And I saw a sign when we were driving home the other day that said, "Choose life, your mother did." And it struck me all over, yeah, your mother did. You know,
Right? Yep.
Okay, going down about 80% of the way through 366. Someone read that quote.
The moral question for us is not whether the suffering and the dying are persons, but whether we are the kind of persons who will care for them without doubting their worth.
That's in a book that he's quoting A.J. Dyke from Ronald Reagan's book, Abortion and the Conscience of the Nation. That goes back to your question, Sharon, about 40 minutes ago, whether or not we are the type of people that will care for those that are less able to care for themselves or less able to manage on their own. That's why, Lori, what you're doing for your mom is heroic.
I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah, it's
But
wonderful.
I used to take care of people too that couldn't be out on their, I mean, you know.
And you got paid for it.
True, true.
This you're not getting paid. Wow, I'm assuming you're not getting paid.
Well.
Well, never mind. It's still heroic.
I am not a wealthy girl, let me tell you. But that's okay.
I guess
I don't care.
when you work with disabled people, whether they're older people or younger
That's what I was
people,
saying.
because I worked with
Sure.
little people that had brittle bone or they had some kind of genetic disorder that was really hurtful. And the first time I would see some of them, it was a shock to me. I mean, there are so many things out in our world that we don't see on a
Oh,
regular
sure.
basis, but the parents still love the child. And they cared for the child. And we gave services to the child to give it the best life it could have.
Good. That's what we should be doing.
That was working at the filling home when I was in Napoleon. I took care of people that, you know, the paraplegics, you know, like the accidents, 3 of the guys that were teenage accidents that left them paraplegics and stuff, but yeah, I loved doing that. I loved helping them.
Cool.
They were cool. Some of them couldn't talk very good or something, but you know, we get to know them.
And going back to Sharon's point about 40 minutes ago, I think there's something that matures the people that work with those kind of patients that makes them more noble, that makes them more grateful, that makes them more mature. I think all of us could benefit by being exposed to people that are in those handicapped situations, if for no other reason to help us to grow up, to help us to appreciate what we have. I know I've been around families of Down syndrome or severely autistic or severely handicapped people, and they're just noble people. Just, for the most part, classy people.
One thing that gives you a bright light is though, when you're a teacher and you see that they can learn what you're teaching.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
It's of benefit.
yeah.
Yeah, good. Other thoughts? Bottom of 366. Well, this is an interesting question that I was going to come back to earlier discussion as well. Bottom of 366, top 367.
In 1929, the United States spent 3.5% of its gross national product on medical care. By 1982, the figure had increased to 10.3%. The public's seemingly insatiable demand for health care, including highly expensive forms of therapy such as cardiac transplantations and kidney dialysis, make the issues of rationing of life and death more than purely academic and speculative concerns. Pressing issues of death and dying will inescapably face Americans for the rest of the foreseeable future.
And today, guess what the percentage is?
2030.
About 20%. Yeah, 20%. That means since in the last 40 years, it's doubled. If that goes again, doubles again, it'll be 40% by 2050. 2060. Thoughts?
And people, a lot of people aren't having children anymore either, so
Yes!
producing,
Yes!
that's gonna get us in trouble too.
And people are.
Isn't it interesting that in the 70s and 80s, they were shoving it down our throats that we needed to stop having babies?
2 children.
Yes.
Well, in my opinion, your paragraph that you wrote on the bottom of 366 speaks to all the issue of all that.
Go ahead.
It says starting with the second sentence is all this cultural talk about the ethical legitimacy of euthanasia over the last 50 years really a smokescreen to obscure the real issue at hand, that today's culture is too selfish and too proud to humble themselves and sacrifice themselves and get dirty and take care for the sake of a loved one who is suffering and has become high maintenance, or to have babies for the same reason. Because you have to be selfless to do that.
Yeah.
Because you have to put your own plans on hold for 25 years while you wait for them to grow.
Tim Keller has a really, really fun message in which he's dealing basically with the single young adults in his congregation. I mean, 30 and younger and single. And he basically says, your mom and dad sacrificed their lives for you.
Get out there and do it.
You're totally immature by not getting married and not having children, because that's what bucks you up. I don't know, I matured the minute Jody was born. My life changed radically.
Rick's didn't. He went go-kart racing. It's true, he almost killed himself. That's what they told me. He had to grab the fence and pull himself out of the go-kart.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes, you do.
Having children too is a real eye-opener of how God thinks of us, you know. I mean, it's a real...
Isn't it though like an umbrella over everything we do right now? We gotta do DoorDash. We've gotta get this done right now. We can't use our time for that. We are too important. We have things we wanna do. We cannot spend our life taking care of someone else, because then we can't take care of ours.
That's what I think
see.
you're promoting, yeah.
I think it comes down to love.
Well, and
You love yourself more than other people,
Well,
I think.
no, I'm thinking more of like our number one, what God told us to do.
Is love others.
To
Love him and love others, yeah.
And you love yourself.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't have time. And that's basically what happens. It takes time away from what you might want to do
absolutely.
to take care of someone else.
That's Tim Keller's message. It said, your parents died to their agenda, to their lives, and you are not even
But
giving
I doubt
them...
they even, I mean, yeah, maybe if mom's having a rough day, she might think, doggone, you know? But typically, you don't think like that. I didn't think like that.
Oh, good for you.
Did you?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I know I'm like, oh gosh, I'm glad they can take their own baths and stuff. Not because that's what my bath has been, over the bathtub. But you know, I don't know, I just did it because I wanted them clean. I knew that they needed to be clean, you know.
For the first 2 years of our kids' lives,
So see, I'm looking at her because she knows what I'm talking about.
well, sure she does. I wasn't going to have any part of that. I was so grateful when they could talk and do things on their own.
Sit down and have philosophical discussions,
Well, just
right?
not be high maintenance.
Rico, I said, I like it when they can play with me. Or we can go outside, or we can do something.
There you go.
You gotta get them there, dear. You just can't hold them back. You just can't, put them in a cage.
Well, and this brings up the question, this last quote brings up the question of how much do we spend for care?
Oh dear.
I'll never forget my father having I think I've shared this with you, a heart valve replacement. It was going to cost $250,000 back in 2013 or 12 or 13, something like that. And I thought, $250,000.
That's the
Dad,
problem.
you're
not
89
the heart.
99 years old. I really questioned it, and I thought, if it was $100,000, would I feel better about it? Was it $50? Would I feel better about it? Well, where does money play into this? If it was $1 trillion, it would bankrupt our entire family to try to pay that bill. And so, I have no answers. There's no line in the sand, because I think every instance is unique. But we are in a day and age in which these medical procedures are not cheap. And we need to wrestle with the fact that there may come a time that economics plays a part in the decision-making process.
Doesn't it already for people who
Sure it
can't
does.
afford it?
Sure it
Your
does.
father could afford it. There are people who can't.
Well, he had good insurance.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I pay for his insurance. I mean, you pay for his insurance. It costs you just as much as it costs me and everybody else, because when that procedure happens, it's spread out.
But the
Everybody else.
question, the bottom line is, why so much money?
Well, that's a whole other issue that I'm not
That's
prepared
what
to
we
deal
need
with.
to deal with. Why so much money?
Yeah, Fred.
Well, I mean, the simple answer is that it takes really highly skilled people to develop that, and they expect to be paid lots of money.
Yeah.
But we
And
probably
highly-
paid for a lot of their education too.
And they have to have lots of insurance for themselves because other people are so self-reliant, try to sue on every
Yeah,
little thing.
Well, then we
So,
need
I mean,
to
it's just
change
a lot of
that.
corruption.
But the whole situation needs to be fixed. I mean, they're gonna do the best job they can. But the problem that remains is the costs that are charged by professionals. And I have professional sons, I'm sorry, but I still see it that way. And I've heard some people, and I gave some of the kids this example. No one probably, a lot of your friends you have or people you know could never even have the ability to learn what you've learned to be in the profession you're in. But you get to bring home all the benefits of your intelligence.
No, sure.
And so why is that fair?
Well, you're asking
That's
the
a
wrong person.
question.
Life isn't fair. I heard that a long time ago.
But why is that fair when we look at it that way?
When I look at persons that may be earning $14 to $15 an hour, who do jobs that I don't want to do, why are they not paid well enough to do a job that I don't want to do? Only because it's demeaning, like scrubbing toilets or cleaning up after elderly
But then
people in a
why-
nursing home.
Why do we pay our professionals so much money?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I have that thought in my head.
I
mean,
think what we
you
pay
have
professional
grants.
athletes is absurd, but
It is.
the market
Now that
drives
one's
that.
absurd.
But that's one of the gifts that Gardner
Sure.
said was
Fred?
Because
sports.
because they won't go through the hard work to get to that point, or they're not gonna be compensated for it.
Yeah, that's probably
And
why.
if they have
Some people
surgery, I
don't
want
have
somebody
the
that knows what
intelligence to
he or
do
she are
it.
doing.
Sure,
But
So they could never do it.
sure,
Even if they had tried to take, it's like putting them in a room where they wouldn't understand.
sure.
So they would never be able to acquire the ability to do anything on a higher level. So we keep them down in the mud.
Other thoughts? We're gonna skip ahead to 372, because we talked about this under section 15 or earlier. Oh, yeah, I wanna pick up on this because we talked about it earlier and I wanna hit it again. 2/3 of the way down on 372, the Canada's Supreme Court.
In 2015, Canada's Supreme Court struck down a 22-year ban on assisted suicide. The next year, its parliament passed legislation allowing maid or medical assistance in dying for those who suffered from terminal illness and whose death was reasonably foreseeable. 5 years later, the reasonably foreseeable language was dropped, as was a requirement of terminal illness. Today, ending one's life with medical assistance simply requires a physician and witness to agree that physical or mental suffering is such as cannot be relieved under conditions that you, the patient, consider acceptable. Next year, that will expand to include anyone with a mental illness like PTSD or depression. There's also talk about expanding the practice to include minors.
And those things are taking place in Canada, so that now, if it's my understanding, it's the 5th leading cause of death in Canada.
They're playing God.
Well, they sure are. And they're making it really easy for people to take their life.
Yeah, just.
Kevorkian got in trouble.
Yeah. and
Well,
then-
here in the States.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if he would be in Canada now, he would
Oh.
be a hero.
He would, in the United States, he would be too.
Yeah. Thoughts? This is the slippery slope that I was talking about, that once you start it, it gets, yeah. Doug?
Is the government in Canada doing this to help keep the cost of health care down?
That's exactly what they're doing.
You betcha. I
That's
believe
exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these cases are very expensive, year after year after year, with the type of care that's available and the type of technology that is expensive in order to care for these folks. And so it's much, much more cost effective to just terminate their life.
Does Canada have a lot of homeless people?
I have no idea.
Because a lot of the homeless people we have are mentally impaired maybe, or
Sure.
or been damaged by life
Sure.
experiences.
Sure.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, that would be true of the homeless people that I've dealt with. Yeah. They don't look at life the same way everybody else does. Other thoughts before we call tonight and start on 373 next time? Going once. Yeah,
What do you think the percentage of Christians would be in Canada?
Ooh.
Because if they allow their government to pass these kind of laws, that's not being very Christian.
Right, right.
So do you think Christianity is really low in Canada?
They may say the same thing of us towards abortion. I don't know what the percentage of Christians is. I know the church in Canada is not healthy. I do know that.
What would you call the church in America
Oh,
healthy?
we're definitely not healthy.
Okay.
No, all you have to do is read Voice of the Martyrs and realize what a real church looks like. I mean, those people are incredible. People that live in Iraq or in Ethiopia or Sudan or in Western China or China, in any place, Vietnam, Cambodia. Voice of the Martyrs gives articles about these people that are living in the face of death with family members or pastors have died because of religious persecution. I look at the American church and realize we aren't anywhere close to that kind of faith level.
What's impressive though too, in those circumstances, the church is thriving.
Yes, growing.
Yeah.
The more,
Quadrupling.
Tertullian said that in 300 AD, that the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. You try to.
Who wants to be a martyr?
The Tertullian recognized early on that if you try to kill Christians, it's like Hercules in the cartoon movie. It takes Hydra, the monster, and cuts its head off. Then it's 2 heads. Then cuts the 2 heads off, and it's 4 heads. And then finally his mentor says, "Stop the head cutting thing." That's kind of it is with persecuting Christians. It just makes the church grow even more.
Well, they're doing that now here in our own country.
But not to that extent.
Right, not to that
Well, that's
extent,
what-
but if they get their way.
Yeah,
it's
well, that's
certainly
true.
gonna be
That's true.
If we don't.
That's really what's happened with the death of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Oh, sure it
It's
is.
true. Yeah.
Sure it is. And when you have people celebrating and throwing parties because he was assassinated, that just shows how much that's a prevalent part of our culture. Yeah. Okay, we'll start 1:16:24 on
26.
26, what?
26.
You said 24.
2 days after your birthday.
It is.
Whose birthday is that? 116. I thought a family member had a 116.
Chris is the 15th.
Christmas has been
6 days before.
Never mind. Let's pray. Father, be with us as we go. Help us to realize that we may not have all the answers, but you do. And that wisdom knows that there's a place and a time for everything. And that we won't know what time it is. We won't know what the place is unless we seek you with all of our hearts. Unless we're informed of your word and we're sensitive to your spirit. Help us to do that. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you all.